To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So I'm back at the tiny house build again today. The first thing I got to do today is I got to get these 2x4s right here. I'm using those 2x4s as support for my trusses. That way they don't lean to one side or another. Well, I found some scrap plywood that I can replace that with. When I was putting it up there, I wasn't thinking, I just wanted to, be able to get it up and then I'll worry about all that later. Well, later is now. But my primary goal is at least to get some of the overhang done on this wall right here. So similar to what you see there. Now, how do I make an overhang? This is a challenge. I've never done it before. I mean, I've watched videos, but essentially, imagine this is your truss. So it's up at an angle like this. We're talking about that board over on the end wall. So that's your truss going up. Well, in order to get a overhang, you have to have a board going that way, kind of like that. Well, in order to do that, you have to cut a groove in here and here, and they have to be able to slide into each other. That way your overhang is coming out like that. And then this side gets attached to the next rafter or truss. I'm trying to use the correct vocabulary because I get chewed out all the time. And that's another thing. Who cares what I call it? It's a thingamabob. As long as it does what it's supposed to do. And then when I'm done with that, then I got to come over here and I got to cut these rafters straight up and down, or the overhang. That way I can put a board going all the way down it. And of course, then I got to make a bevel cut on that. It's supposed to rain, I think Sunday, so I got to finish up getting different details done on the wrap so nothing gets wet. So today I'm getting a new drill and an impact wrench. I guess it's a wrench. I bought off Amazon, so I don't have to use this and run the generator all the time. They're cordless. It's not the most powerful one, but it had really good reviews. Ha! My drill showed up. That's the drill. And this is the impact wrench, whatever you call it. Very exciting. So I'm gonna get this charged up. Tomorrow I'll be using this. I won't have to be switching out the cord between the saw and the drill. I don't have to climb around with the drill and on the ladder with the extension cord. This is going to be really nice. I got this so we can put the metal roofing material on the roof, on the walls. So I got to get a socket for it. I just don't know what size yet. This is great. I know it's not the most expensive one, and I'm not trying to promote one or another. This was $100 and the reviews were fantastic on it. It was actually better reviews than the more popular brand. So it doesn't matter to me. I'm gonna use them, and if they break, I can get another one. I got the extended warranty on it. I think that was $14. Figure what the heck. I never get the extended warranty, but this time I did. So I've screwed two boards together, and I'm gonna do two boards at a time. So what I gotta do is flip it on its side here. So I got to cut out 1.5 inches. So that I would have to cut out. And I'm going to cut it out 1.5 inches deep. So that means I got to adjust my saw so it doesn't cut any deeper than 1.5 inches. I got to cut this out, and then I got to get up on the rafter and cut 1.5 inches out there as well. So I'm going to make my overhang 11 3/4 inches, almost 12 inches. And the reason I decided to go 11 3/4 is because when I get my metal roofing material, that will all work out at the end so I don't have to cut any of the metal. That means I gotta mark this off at 11 3/4, then another 1.5 inches, and then start cutting. So it's been a while since I mentioned what this is. This is a Carpenter Square or a framing square, whatever you want to call it. Google it, it comes up different names. And so what that does is if you place one leg of the square here, that makes this a straight line. Now your saw has an adjustment on it where you can adjust how deep the cut goes. Like this. Okay, so now you can see that I've got this whittled out. So that's how that will work. So now I have to do that on the rafter also, because if I don't, then it's going to stick out like that. It'll interlock is what it'll do. When you do these kind of cuts, please make sure you wear safety glasses. You should always wear the safety glasses when you're using the circular saw, but in this case, it throws out some beefy little chunks of wood and it hits you in the face. It stings pretty bad, so wear safety glasses. Also, when you're using screws as a temporary holding device, don't screw it all the way in. If you sink it in to the wood, sometimes the screw won't come out. It'll just separate the boards. And then you gotta hammer it out. It really tears out huge chunks of wood when you do that. All right, so this now is the overhang for the north-south wall. So we have east and west walls here, and this is the north-south. So what I did is I had to notch it. See, I notched that one like I showed you earlier. Then I had to notch this one. And now they slide in together like that. Now, I have my gusset plate here in the way on both sides, so I had to trim a little bit off for the gusset plate. But you can see now that it's all even. I think earlier I said you had to cut it 1.5 inches deep. That's not true. You had to cut it 1 3/4 inches. So each side is 1 3/4 inches because the board itself is 3 inches. When you divide that in half, it's 1 3/4 inches. I got to do that 5 more times on this wall and then 6 times over there. When I get to the peak, I'm not actually going to notch it. I'm just going to hang it. So I'll have to have an extra piece of wood there to be able to do that with. Okay, so as you can see, maybe you can get a better picture of what I'm talking about now with the overhang. So I have about 1 foot of overhang here, and all of them, except this top one I'll talk about here in a minute, uses this notch system. So it connects into this rafter or truss, and then into this truss as well. So that gives it a lot of strength so it doesn't just pop up. So I did that for the first 3 of them here, but on this top one, I didn't want to cut into the gusset plate. This is a structural stressor point. This is where all your weight's going to be at. So you don't want to cut into that. So here I have a homemade gusset plate on my truss, which creates a reinforcement strength here, along with my brace. So all that's connected. Then I have a gusset plate on this side. You might be able to see a metal gusset plate right there, plus the OSB. All that creates strength. And so if I'm cutting into that, I'm going to weaken that stress point. So I didn't want to cut into it. So what I did was I decided to go ahead and allow the overhang be the weakest part. So I just took a 2x4 and I screwed it into the wall like this. You can see I didn't notch it. And then I took another 2x4 and I set next to it, and I was able to screw into it. And so that creates quite a bit of strength. If anything's going to fail, I would rather it be the overhang. It's the easiest thing to replace, and it's not any safety hazard. You're going to have a piece of OSB on top of this, so even if this does get too much weight, it might sag, but it will never break, I don't think, because you got these here. Plus, remember, I'm going to have another one right here. So all of it's going to be connected. So yesterday, I was up here, Carolyn and I were sitting outside, and the neighbor saw us and stopped. And he says, "Hey, I got some flooring material." He said, "I just redid my kitchen." Apparently he had a fire. Him and his wife had a fire in their mobile home, their trailer. And he says, I've been rebuilding the flooring, and he said, I bought too much, got a lot left over. And he says, do you want it? And he showed me one piece. And so it was like this. And he says, I think I got enough for you to finish your house. I mean, there's 3 new boxes right here, full. 1, 2, 3. And then he said these were scrap pieces, or I guess they're cuts or something, I don't know. And now this is what's interesting, is this is what Carolyn was looking at Home Depot the last time we were there. Same color and everything. So even if there's not enough, we're gonna take the barcode off of this and try to match it up to Home Depot or wherever we can find it at. It's brushed pewter oak is what it says. I just couldn't believe it. This is gonna save us hundreds of dollars, I would think. Man, this is just great. I don't get this lucky, not ever. And some guy just stops and says, hey, you want some flooring? Free. I mean, I can't imagine how much that costs. So I hope I can inspire you to create something today. Thanks for watching.